What is up guys, welcome back to the channel, and as we are moving forward into the last week of this month, it is time for us to check out our final episode of top 10 brand new completely free to play games you can play right now during the month of December 2025. December is already packed with so many awesome free to play games, especially with the Epic Game Store mystery game giveaway happening right now. Plus there are a bunch of other awesome games you can claim right now on Steam for absolutely free. But in this video we are focusing on the newly released free to play titles that came out in December 2025. Honestly, we don't have like a whole lot of high profile games came out in December, but still there are some awesome smaller scale indie titles that definitely worth look into. So without wasting any more time, let's jump right into it. Alright, I'm starting with a very cool third-person multiplayer shooter called Fuba Zero, and this game just hit on early access. It's a fast-paced multiplayer third-person shooter with anime characters where you can do 6v6 team battles or 12-player free-for-all matches. There's not much of a story or narrative, it's all come down to multiplayer fun. You get customizable loadouts with 3 weapon slots and 3 skill slots, and the movement is super dynamic. We got wall jumps, dodges, parkour elements. It's pretty fun to play around with. And at the moment there are only 3 game modes available, which is basically deathmatch, team deathmatch, and touchdown, along with 8 maps, 10 weapons, and 19 skills. And as I said before, the game just came out on Steam, is still on early access, so not a lot of people know about the game at the moment, so finding matches online can be a difficult task due to limited play count. But keeping that aside, it's a good looking, fun game and totally free to check out, so you might as well give it a try and have some fun. Alright, next up we got Unbound. It's a super charming, free precision platformer game that just came out, and honestly, it's a total gem for what it is. You are playing as Mock's wrongfully imprisoned monkey who breaks out and try to navigate through this hazardous futuristic city while being chased by the prison guards. So basically your whole goal is to outrun these pursuers and reach the off-the-world colony before they catch up to you. Very simple, straightforward escape and survival stuff. The gameplay is pure precision platformer goodness with focus on tight controls and challenging movement. So basically you got 5 main actions. You can jump, climb, dash, roll, and of course your standard movement, and you're using these to navigate through these 3 handcrafted levels filled with tricky platforming challenges. I rarely play this style of precision platformer games, and honestly it's pretty difficult for me at least. The game is totally free to play and single player and is currently sitting on 82% positive reviews on Steam. So all in all, if you're into games like Celeste or any other precision platformer games, this one is a cool free alternative to try out right now. Alright, moving on to something very unique. Next up we got 12 Memory Lane. This one is an incredibly touching free narrative mystery game that just launched on Steam and already sitting on 96% positive reviews. You're playing as Henry, a man suffering from the Alzheimer's disease who's searching for his lost memories to piece together the events leading up to his family's sudden disappearance. Story is a bit short one, but very touching and heartbreaking. But in terms of gameplay, this one isn't really like a super action-packed game. It's basically like a walking simulator, some environmental puzzles with really clever reality bending mechanic. It's very emotional, atmospheric, at the same time being very linear and focused, and probably will take you around maybe an hour, maybe a couple of hours to complete. So if you got the time, download, try it out. It is completely free to play and also single player. The Perfect Tower 2 just hit its 1.0 update after being early access since 2021. It's basically a mashup of idle game mechanics, tower defenses, and resource management, and honestly one of the most unique games in the genre. The gameplay is where it gets wild because it's basically several games in one. You got your core tower defense where you fight off waves of enemies across 15 different regions, each with 5 difficulty modes including normal, endless, challenge, idle, and sandbox. But on top of that, you are building a town with 12 different buildings you can upgrade, manage resources, and there is a collection of minigames and puzzles with incremental mechanics waiting for your creative solutions. There's even a fun arcade game called Perfect Space where you can play and earn resources. The game is totally free to play and it's sitting around 86% positive reviews at the moment. Plus there is a benefit that you can seamlessly switch between the PC version and the web version, which is also a nice addition. Moving on to number 6, we got Blackthorn's Manor, a free-to-play first-person puzzle horror game that literally came out a few days ago and looks to be a very promising indie release. The story setup is a classic horror vibe. Your friend vanished after attending a party in this abandoned manor and nobody's seen him ever since, and basically you are the only one dumb enough to go search for him. The story unfolds through environmental storytelling, lore fragments, and hidden notes that piece together the dark history of the place. The gameplay is mainly puzzle-focused exploration designed like twisted escape room games. You're moving through these semi-linear environments, solving environmental puzzles, unlocking doors, triggering mechanisms, and following hidden clues to to progress through the story. The game is 100% free to play, single player, and it will take you around maybe 2 hours, maximum 3 hours to complete. So all in all, if you're into this first person horror adventure puzzle style game, basically slow burn horror games, it's a very cool new game to try out at the moment. If you're a fan of survival games and want to try out something new, next up we got Nightfall number 1. This one recently launched as a free-to-play, kind of like a prologue version to a full game, and it's honestly pretty good. So basically in this game, you are crash landed on this hostile desert planet and your ship is basically toast. So you are pretty much stuck surviving in this dusty, harsh world while investigating the crash site and exploring anomalies. The gameplay is survival crafting game with day and night cycle that's critical for your survival. During the day, you are gathering resources, building shelters, crafting gear, and exploring this fully destructible open world. And when the night comes, things get real because you're facing nightly attacks from these creatures called rot, and you need a proper fortification and defenses to survive. So it's kind of similar to games like Don't Starve mixed with maybe a game like 7 Days to Die. It got that typical third-person survival but with a unique art style and a very good progression system. And remember, this one's still a prologue version for their full game, but I still recommend you guys to download and give it a try because the game is so much fun to play if you're into survival games. You can simply go ahead and download it right now on Steam for absolutely free. The top-down roguelike genre is becoming even more and more popular these days thanks to popular games like Vampire Survivors, and we got another awesome game finally got fully released on Steam, and that is Power Fantasy. This one is basically free-to-play Vampire Survivors with some cool twist. Even though it's a single-player game, there is no real story here. You're just surviving waves of blood-hungry enemies while leveling up and getting stronger, a pure arcade roguelike action. The gameplay is heavily inspired by Vampire Survivors with pixel art and top-down camera, but instead of fixed 30-minute sessions, Power Fantasy has short 5-minute expeditions that each ended up with a boss fight. So you're basically moving around, your weapons auto-fire with different attack patterns, and you're collecting XP to level up and choose from upgrades. It's fast-paced, chaotic, and incredibly satisfying when you mow down hordes of enemies. I know this style of games may not be for everyone, but if you're someone who into roguelike games, this one is a really cool new option on the market, completely free to play, and also runs well even if you have a low-end potato PC. If you're a big fan of old-school games like RuneScape, we got a brand new game that just hit on Steam, and that is Winds of Velen. This one is a free-to-play fantasy MMORPG that is doing pretty decently at the moment with having 71% mostly positive reviews. The gameplay is of course heavily inspired by RuneScape with charming low poly aesthetic and level skill focus on resource gathering, and the combat is very similar with players and NPCs taking turn each other until someone dies. You are training combat skills like attack, defense, evasion, warding, and health, plus professions like mining, smithing that are deeply tied to equipment progression. For a small free title, there are so much stuff happening inside the game, but I mean, this is more like an old school MMO mixed with a bit of nostalgia, I would say, and this style of games are very rarely come into the market in 2025, especially free-to-play titles. These are old school games, so if you are an old gamer like myself, you're probably gonna enjoy this style of games, and it is completely free to play with everything available right out of the box. No paid advantages, no paywalls, nothing. Completely free to play. Download and try it yourself. Alright, moving on to number 2, we got something very unexpected, and that is Real Moon. And this one just dropped on Steam, completely free lunar exploration simulator, and honestly, it is genuinely fascinating for what it is. This one is built using real scientific data and research to create an accurate section of the moon's surface. So you're basically becoming an astronaut tasked with tracking down a specific location on the moon using only a photo left behind by a probe as a hint. The whole experience is designed to be short, somewhere around 30 minutes to an hour, so this is more of an interactive educational experience than a full-fledged game. The gameplay involves exploring on foot or hopping on a lunar rover to search for a specific coordination, and you need to locate series of 3 points to complete the mission. Simple as that. Plus there is a cool mode called Free Mode where you can control time, place objects like rockets, flags, balls, lights, all those cool stuff, and observe how the shadow change, and take photos with customizable filters and frames. So it is a pretty cool addition. So it's very realistic, very scientific, very educational kind of game. So if you're into that, download and give it a try. It's technically not a game, more of a simulation, but I still feel like it's worth mentioning in our today's video. And our final game, we got Operation Outbreak. This one basically a student exam project that turned into a surprisingly solid zombie first-person shooter experience. In this game, you're playing as Nomad, a sole survivor after your squad vehicle get destroyed during a patrol and a virus had turned city into a zombie hellscape. The gameplay mixes elements of both Resident Evil and Call of Duty with 10 survival-focused combat, and the resources are incredibly scarce. You start with a basic pistol and the ammunition, healing items and the night vision are all limited, making every shot, every decision very crucial. The game was built from the ground up using the Unreal Engine. Visually, the game looks incredibly good for a solo person project, but there are a few bugs, visual glitches, some performance issues, and also unfortunately it is very short. But despite that, it is completely free to play right now at the moment, sitting on 82% very positive reviews on Steam. So if you're looking for a fun zombie survival experience that won't take hours to complete, definitely download and try it yourself. Well, there you have it guys, 10 incredible brand new free-to-play games to play right now during the month of December. We got so many awesome free games throughout the year of 2025, and hopefully moving forward into the next year 2026, we'll be able to play even more awesome free games. So if you want to keep up to date with all these free-to-play stuff, make sure to subscribe and stay tuned to the channel. And thanks for watching guys. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Stay safe.